Hello beautiful people of the internet. So in today's video, I figured I'll walk you through 7 slideshow formats that you can adopt to promote your app or e-commerce product. For those of you who don't know, slideshows on TikTok have been one of the most popular marketing formats in recent years, largely because they are very easy and cheap to produce, because obviously it's just images. You can pick them from places like Pinterest or have them generated with AI. And B, they are also more realistic. If, let's say, you are creating images with AI, it's obviously much easier to create a realistic AI image versus, for example, a video that also has audio as a modality and obviously has many more frames that it has to get right. So with that being said, let me show you 7 formats that you can adopt. The first format that is super popular is what I call basically the grid format. So very easy to produce. You just have a grid of 4 images and then have a bit of text here in the center. So in this case, this is promoting a workout tracking app. Or in this example, we have an e-commerce shop that promotes clothing for kids, as you can see on the last slide. The big advantage is obviously it's very visual. So if you are equally in a visual niche, like for example a shopping, then the grid format works really well. The second format is what I call infographics, loosely that is. So here's one example where it talks about your brain and how it reacts to OCD or how it behaves on OCD. Now, the really important thing with this type of format is that it's unique to your brand. So in this case, we have this OCD brand on TikTok. And as you can see, they have a consistent style, a consistent coloring, a consistent icon that they're reusing. What this allows you to do is that you will bypass TikTok's very strong content filters. So TikTok, through mechanisms like perceptual hashing, can and are analyzing all the images, all the content on the platform. And if it's too similar to other content on the platform, its likelihood of going viral is diminished. And so as a result, whether you're using AI or whether you're using, for example, tools like Canva, creating these, it's very important that you make them unique and obviously educational and entertaining, because that's the whole point of them. They need to be educational so that people scroll through them. The third one, and it's personally one of my favorites because it's very relatable in nature, is what I call founder-led stories. So we have one here of this girl that has very wide feet, and then she talks about all the problems that she had. You can see how visual that image is. That is exactly the point with slideshows. They are inherently visual. And so she then describes why she built a product, who is it for, and then having a result at the end. Now, the cool thing is this can also work with AI-based content. So we have one here that got 30 million views, and it's basically a founder-led story of a girl getting pregnant. But as you can see, if you have a bit of a feeling, a bit of a sense for AI images, all of these images here, they are all practically AI generated. As you can see, nobody is taking a picture of somebody saying something in a parking lot. But again, because it's a compelling story, people can ultimately relate to it. The next is what I call listicles, and they are basically one of the most popular formats on TikTok. And it's practically just a listicle in the one that we have here, top 10 degrees that make you rich. So anything that you can put in a list and rank will work with this format. So for example, the best football players of all time or the best digital nomad locations. Again, anything that can be ranked is viable for this type of format. The next and fifth one, I just had to check, is the curiosity gap, is what I call it. Basically, very popular in the relationship, dating, etc. niches, where you say, I broke contact after a year, or this is what he texted me after not writing for 6 months. You get the deal, basically leading with some sort of curiosity, with some sort of gap that you impose onto the next slide. So in this case, again, we have a relationship app called Better Off app, and it says that they broke no contact after a year, and then it shows the text. This format also works in other niches. So I have another example here where you can see I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me. And then the last slide is effectively just a screenshot of the app. The sixth format is what I call leaning on expertise. So very popular a while back, where you're basically just using the hook to establish expertise of another person. So this example here was very, very popular a while back. Toxic exam advice my professor gave us, and I hate that it actually works. And then it just goes through the different exam tips and places the product within those tips. Here's another example, 5 unhinged nervous system hacks I learned from Buddhist monks. So again, you're leaning on the expertise of Buddhist monks. I have seen other variations like 5 unhinged ADHD hacks for my boss. So again, you try to lean on the expertise of another person that will help you to establish trust, and what comes after will make the sell that much more convincing. And then the final bit that I really like and that will always work is the so-called transformation. So it doesn't really need much explanation. So as you can see here, we have this girl on the first slide, then a little bit of the stuff that she did and the transformation of resulting what she did. In this case, is promoting an app called Tone AI, but you can effectively do it across any fitness, across any nutrition app. It will always work because people can always relate to change. People can always relate to transformations because they know themselves how hard it is to transform yourself. And so that's it. Those are the 7 formats that you can theoretically adopt to promote your app or e-commerce product. If you guys have any questions about any of the formats, then let me know. I, by the way, used our product Genviro and our inspiration library, where you can find thousands of examples like these. So these are the ones that I just stored. But if I just filter on everything, then you'll find thousands of videos and slideshows that other people have successfully published, and then you can adopt yourself. So that being said, thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.